Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today's video will be coming out on Saturday, January 4th, so this will be about a day after this has happened, but I want to do a video just to let you know what the situation is, where Representative Mike Johnson has been elected as Speaker of the House once again. He will now be the Speaker of the House for Donald Trump's second term, beginning on January 20th, and this was last updated as of January 3rd, 5:20 p.m., as of the time I'm recording this video. Mike Johnson was reelected House Speaker on the first ballot after some late drama, with President-elect Donald Trump forced to step in. Two Republicans changed their votes after initially opposing the incumbent. Three House Republicans, Representatives Thomas Massie of Kentucky, Ralph Norman of South Carolina, and Keith Self of Texas, had initially denied Johnson a majority by voting for someone else, but Norman and Self switched their votes, giving the win to Johnson. Trump spoke by phone with Norman and Self after the initial voting, telling them to stop the nonsense and back Johnson, according to people familiar with the discussions. Johnson didn't agree to any specific concessions, a Republican lawmaker said. Several hard-right House Republicans said in a letter they only voted for Johnson to make sure the chamber was ready to certify Trump as president in the coming days. We did this despite our sincere reservations regarding the Speaker's track record. So that's the updated news on this. Mike Johnson will be the Speaker of the House once again, and by January 6th, Republicans will be able to vote and officially nominate Donald Trump as the president-elect, then to be the President of the United States. And this news is pretty much over. There's not really too much more to add on this side of things, but I am particularly interested on the House side of things, where if you're a returning viewer of mine, you'll know I covered this, but if you have not seen some of my videos before, I had watched the House races the few days after Election Day, and the House map ended up being 220 Republicans to 215 for the Democrats. And Mike Johnson represents Louisiana's 4th District. And right now, the Republicans have 220 seats, Democrats have 215. You need about 218 seats to have a majority in the House. So just doing, obviously, the quick math here, Republicans have about 5 seats advantage over the Democrats right now. This was after Republicans did do pretty well in the 2024 elections, but the Democrats were still able to gain about 2+ net seats. So certainly, it's going to be an extremely contentious House for the next 2 years, as there's a lot of very close elections. It's also worth noting right now, there are a few vacancies in the House due to President-elect Trump adding the members to his cabinet. For instance, Matt Gaetz was going to be the Attorney General. He has since resigned, but his Florida District 1 is currently going to be vacant in the new session until a special election is filled. Representative Michael Waltz will also be in the Trump administration. That is a similar situation as well. And New York Representative Elise Stefanik is also serving in the Trump administration as UN ambassador. Those 3 seats bring the Republicans down to 217 seats. Now, obviously, there'll be special elections for all 3, and seeing as all of these races are still pretty reliable red districts, they're probably going to stay that way, and Republicans will get back up to the 220, 215 number, saying they all win. That still only has Republicans with 5 seats advantage over the Democrats, which is a very close House. As the article mentioned, the 3 representatives are Thomas Massie of Kentucky. So first I'll show you where his district is. Thomas Massie in Kentucky, he is going to be representing this district right here, Kentucky District 4. This is Thomas Massie's district. And we also had Representative Ralph Norman of South Carolina. Let's see. Norman's district is going to be right here in South Carolina District 5. One more we also have was Representative Keith Self of Texas. He's actually a representative before this I am not too familiar with. So I'm going to, here it is right here, right outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm actually not too familiar with him, so this is the first time I'm learning who he is and what district he represents. He represents Texas District 3. But today's vote, yes, Johnson's a speaker again, and for the meantime, Republicans have avoided any sort of big problem that they could have potentially had. But it's very interesting because Republicans go forward now with only a 5-seat majority in the House, which, yes, it's a majority, and it's rather be in the majority than not. But it's going to be tough to actually get things done, as President Trump has made very clear the agenda he wants to get done. And many Republicans, including the House Freedom Caucus, made it clear in this vote they only voted for Johnson to have Donald Trump be sworn in as president and make sure everything goes smoothly. So Republicans seem to have a big mandate from the president-elect, soon to be the president, to pass his agenda. And right now, the Republicans only have a 5-seat majority to do that. And with the 3 vacancies in the House, that brings the Republicans down to about 217 to 218. So even then, the Republicans only have about a 1-seat majority right now for at least probably the first month or so of the new Congress, when everything is all set in stone and everything's good to go when President Trump takes office. So it's very fascinating because obviously there's so many representatives in the United States. I mean, there's 535 of them. Right now, based on the way the House is constructed, just 2 or 3 representatives could make a big difference between whether or not President Trump's agenda is actually able to get done or not. And I'm not saying that I expect a lot of Democrats to caucus with the Republicans on certain bills and such, because, look, I mean, I fully expect the Democrats to be in opposition to Republicans on pretty much everything, as that's what the opposition party usually does. But there are some more moderate members of the Democratic Party, like Jared Golden in Maine, who has shown some willingness to work with Republicans. But there are also some Republicans in Congress who maybe have been either one way or the other in terms of being very pro-Trump or very anti-Trump that may not want to work on certain bills with Speaker Johnson. Thomas Massie also showed, I'm looking in Kentucky, Thomas Massie and Chip Roy's also shown some, I don't know if the right word to say is animosity, but I think some not too pleasureness or not too happiness with Trump and Mike Johnson. So it'd be interesting to see how if they really play along, or do they just become a staunch no vote on pretty much everything the Republicans are trying to do. If that is the case, that could be a very bad situation for the president and for the Speaker of the House, as just one Republican outright saying no to everything they do could bring the Republicans down to a 1-seat majority, essentially over the Democrats, until those 3 seats are held. So it's going to be a very interesting first few months of the new Congress and President Trump's second administration. And that's why the 220 to 215 House map is so fascinating to me, is a lot of these very close races really made an important difference in how things ended up going. Like, for instance, Ohio's District 9 ended up being about a 0.6% win for the Democrat. Had this race gone Republican, which only would have taken about 3,000 votes to flip it, things could have been very different on the Republican side and what they're able to get done, and the confidence Mike Johnson needs to actually be able to get things done. Same thing with Maine's 2nd District, as I mentioned. Only about a 3,000 vote difference there. That could have been a big difference. Some of the close races in California. California 27 flipping by about 8,000 votes. California 13 flipping by only 200 votes. Going down here to California 45, Derek Tran winning here by under 1,000 votes. These close wins by the Democrats were absolutely crucial in these elections to potentially slow down any Republican momentum in the House of Representatives. And again, it needs to be mentioned because 2026 will be the midterm elections, halfway through Donald Trump's second term as president. And typically, the off party not in charge usually does better in the midterm elections, barring some sort of historical anomaly that causes the incumbent party to do better. Typically, the off party does better. And right now, the Republicans only have about a 5-seat majority at best in the United States House of Representatives, which you would think would give the Democrats a pretty good position for 2026. So I'm really fascinated by this because for how much it may be in the news, I feel like the House still doesn't get talked about too much compared to the presidency and the Senate. But the House is a very situation where these very close races, like the 2 and 3 in California, like the race in Ohio, like the one that flipped in Oregon 5, these races that were decided by just a few hundreds of votes and a few thousands of votes could very well make the key difference on a lot of policy proposals in the House, and may even depend which party holds the House majority come 2026. So I'm really interested to see how things go from here, but I wanted to give this update in this video because I thought this was interesting news and something very important that I thought was worth sharing. That'll do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to give this video a like, click subscribe, share with your friends and family. Make sure to leave a comment below telling me what you think of this video, and I hope to see you in a future video. That will do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a like, and if you really liked it, please remember to click the subscribe button, and make sure you turn post notifications on so you always get notified when I post a new video. That way you never miss one. Also, please remember to share this video with your friends and family if you really like the video. And remember to stay tuned because I'll be posting at least one video every single day leading up until Election Day. So I'd really appreciate it if you keep coming back and watching those videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.